we have management or silvicultural classification. For the purpose of silvicultural considerations of the forest, we devise a classification and which is based on working plan. Now, working plan is a written scheme of management. It's a kind of book wherein all things related to the management of forests to be done in the coming years, the condition of the forest, and the harvesting procedure which is to be followed in the forest to get the produce, which is aimed at continuity of policy and action and controlling the treatment of the forest. Different kinds of treatments that are being given to the forest. It's known as working plan. Basically, the forests are to be managed on the basis of the devised working plan. Since working plan area is large and huge and it is heterogeneous with different site conditions, like in case of Kashmir, I tell you, we can't have a working plan for the whole working plan area, which has different site conditions, which is heterogeneous, and which requires different silvicultural treatments. So it is devised that we divide the whole area, working plan area, into different working circles. Now, what is a working circle? Working circles is a forest area which may form part or whole of a working plan area, organized with a particular object and subject to one and the same silvicultural system and the same set of working plan prescriptions. Now, like in Kashmir, we have three working circles: south working circle, central working circle, and north working circle. Broadly based on the requirements, silvicultural requirements of the forest. That's in uh, forest in the south and in the north and in the center have specific characteristics, and based on those characteristics they may require specific silvicultural systems and the treatments and working plan prescriptions. That is why they have been named as working plan 1, 2 and 3. Now, what is down the classification of working circle? We have felling series. It's a forest area forming the whole or part of a working circle. Now, it may form a whole or part of a working circle. Further, the working circle may be divided into felling series, which is this is the illustration for the working series, this felling series. Now, why is it done? Why we divide working circle into felling series? To distribute felling. This is to distribute felling and regeneration to suit local conditions and to maintain a normal distribution of age classes. Now, first we have to suit the felling to, we have to fell the trees and get produce from the working circle. So it is divided into felling series, and each felling series has annual groups. This is one annual group: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, why? It is to regulate fellings every year. Now, Coop 1 means we have to fell the timber in first year, then we have to move to second year, move to third year. Like we have, this is felling series 1, we may have another felling series. It will have the similar age gradations for regulating the felling. Now, we already talked about this coop. This is one coop, like it is called as the felling area, usually of an annual series unless otherwise stated. It's annual, unless otherwise we state it differently, preferably numbered with Roman numerals 1, 2 and 3, as is obviously visible in this diagram. Now, if A hectares divided into, we have a rotation of 10 years and area A, so we will divide the A area into 10 equal area. So that will be the area which will be occupied by one coop. Now, cutting section. Sometimes we want to regulate cuttings in a special manner as a planned separation of fellings in successive years. Like in the previous diagram, if you see, we have the annual coops progressing from one end to another end, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That means the felling has to be started here and it moves in this direction. Now sometimes we have to make an arrangement, like the first year we will fell this designated as Coop 1, then in the next year we will move to this Coop, and in the next year move to this Coop. Now why this arrangement is done? Because sometimes the general direction of wind is from in an area, maybe from this direction to this direction. So if we fell this Coop and a fire is there, there's every chance that whole of the forest may get destroyed. Now if we create a gap in the second year, we don't fell this one, we fell this Coop, giving a gap. If the fire is here, there is chance that only two Coops will be damaged, because there will be a fire gap created, because we chose the annual Coops in different locations, not in a normal progression as we did earlier. So this can be done in for n number of felling series 1 and felling series 2. So this is Coop 1, Coop 4 and Coop 7 is known as cutting section. So practically in the first year we'll have felling in cutting section 1, in the next year we'll have felling in the cutting section 2, and in the third year we will have felling in the cutting section 3. So practically in each felling series we can have felling each year in each felling series based on different cutting section and in a different Coop. So this is how the felling series will look like when you regulate felling in this manner. This will be the age gradation of the felling series when we adopt this procedure. Now felling cycle in selection system, you know that uniform selection is different, clear felling selection is different, and selection system is different, wherein we go for culling or harvesting of selected trees that mature. So if we consider this as a selection forest, and we can divide it into working circle, and within the working circle we can have felling series 1, felling series 2, felling series 3, and each felling series has 3 cutting sections. So practically in the first year, felling series 1 will have felling in the cutting section 1 and in the Coop 1. Likewise, felling series 2 will have felling in the cutting section 1 and felling Coop 1, and likewise in the felling series 2, felling will take place in cutting section 1 and Coop 1. In the second year it will be this Coop, this Coop and this Coop. So meaning we in selection system also we can have fellings arranged in such a manner that each felling series will have fellings in different cutting sections in different Coops. But we have to remember that it has a felling in selection system we follow felling cycle, which is felling cycle is defined as the time that elapses between successive main fellings on the same area. Now once we carried out felling in this Coop 1 here, now till the time the crop in 10 years will again grow to 10 years crop after felling. So we will return to this area after a period of 10 years after completing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 9. Yes, and again in the 10th year we will come back to this cut. By then the crop in this Coop will have matured again and will be ready to harvest. So after a period of felling cycle, this is the felling cycle when we return to the same area again for felling, and it may vary from 10 to 30 years or 5 to 40 years in some cases. Now what is true for felling cycle is larger the number of Coops, we have a larger number of Coops, longer the felling cycle. Heavier the intensity of felling in each Coop, more even age groups will follow. So like in regular felling system, we can adopt the same practice in a selection forest, but of course with a different nature, but more or less the meaning remains same. This is the profile in felling series, how it will look like in a selection system. This is for each cutting section, and this is in felling series 2. This is how the age profile of the cutting sections will look like in a felling series. Now we have a shelter wood system or uniform system, wherein we have periodic blocks. uh, Here also we can have this arrangement of felling, taking harvest from different areas. So we don't have annual coop or cutting section, we have a periodic block. Now what is a periodic block? A periodic block is defined as the part or parts of forest set aside to be regenerated or otherwise treated during a specified period. Now you already know, if you have studied the course on silvicultural this systems, we in we inform system, we with 120 years of rotation of any crop, we divide it into four periodic blocks: 0 to 30, 31 to 60, 61 to 90, and 91 to 120. So in the first quarter, in the first 30 years, that is the establishment period or regeneration period, we may carry out felling in this periodic block. Then we may, after a period of 30 years, we may fell this one, then this one, and then this one. Now after we fell 0 to 31, by that time the periodic block which was felled 91 to 120 might have again reached to maturity after felling. Now sometimes the regeneration block is called floating or single periodic block, when it is the only periodic block allotted at each working plan revision. Suppose we all allot only one periodic block, not the entire or all the four periodic blocks. At that moment we designate that as floating or single periodic block. Now here's an example, like in case of cheer pine, which has a rotation of 120 years, and we maintain it under uniform shelter wood system. It has a regeneration period of 30 years when we think the regeneration is established now. So number of periodic blocks that we can divide this into will be 120 divided by 30, which is equal to 4. So here we divide the area into 4 periodic blocks. So regeneration period varies with, and regeneration period varies with species, may be different for one species and different for another species, climatic and edaphic factors. Now you can understand here, this is the arrangement in uniform shelter wood system. The same has been explained here. 91 to 120 years, periodic block 1. This is periodic block 2. This periodic block 3, periodic block 4. Now once this is harvested, this periodic block will get converted into 1 to 30 years of age. Then after 30 years it will move to this periodic block, and after a period of another 30 years this periodic block will move to this periodic block. So the cycle continues, and this is the profile of the regeneration which we see in 4 periodic blocks.